Welcome to Stand Up and Water-cooler Talk. We're gonna talk about what we did, what we're gonna do, and what's blocking us, and then just do water cooler talk. We're gonna talk about the Reddit backlash, which happened recently. I think it happened yesterday, and inflation, which is at 8 something percent still, and the Fed didn't do anything about it, so we'll kind of chat about that. COVID patient zero, I think they've identified the person who started it all, and it came from a lab, and more. So Fede, tell us about what you did yesterday, what you're going to do today, and what's blocking you.
I've been testing the tracking of the API request, the amount of requests. It works fine, but I think I want to move to Redis probably. So I think that will be better.
Did you look into the bottleneck that is a counter?
Yeah, I saw that. A lot of people use Redis or different techniques, but I think Redis should be fine. And we also are going to need Redis for other things, so maybe it's a cool opportunity to just set it up.
So are you able to spin it up yourself? Do you need to bring in DevOps or like?
I'm trying to. I'm watching some tutorials for Google Cloud, so yeah, maybe I can do it.
Okay, great. All right, on my end, what did I do? Not much. Mostly just doing like kind of community service stuff with my HOA. Had to prepare for the president update, and then worked on parking policy, really important stuff. People need to know where they can park, where they can't. So the parking policy at this condo that I'm at today makes it so that if you park your car in our guest parking and you don't have a permit, someone can come over there and slap a sticker on your windshield, and then you're fucking pissed because you can't get this fucking sticker off very easy. So I'm changing that policy to be like, just leave a note, and um, hopefully we don't harass anybody that happens to park here. But if you get a warning, I will tow your motherfucking ass if you do it a second time. So, and then you can yell at me all you want, but you broke the rules. Yeah, you got a warning. The second time you don't get that much slack. So, uh, and then what else? Oh, and then this morning, I took our entry or our water cooler talk, uploaded it to this tool called Opus.pro. It takes a long form video. It automatically generates headlines and stuff like that. So I uploaded like 12 different videos. So that was pretty cool. I think we're going to pay for that. When we have a good session, we'll chop it up and we'll upload it and see if we can get some views. And then, all right, and then today I'm going to work on, remember I told you about the children's book? I didn't get a chance to work on it yesterday. I'm going to work on it today. I already have all the pages laid out. I have all the illustrations, the actual prompt for the pictures.
What are you going to use for the
So
illustration?
I was recommended something called, it's like Leonardo.ai. Yeah, Leonardo.ai, and that's free right now. It's like if you're on the guest list, you can get in there and start using it. So the only thing that I'm worried about is if you give AI a prompt, they put in some random seeds in there, right? So it's not like every time you do the same prompt, you get the same picture. So my worry is if I'm going to do maybe a few, one for Upmortem, which is like generative AGI, artificial general intelligence, singularity, whatever you want to call it, and then how that's going to save the world. And the other one I was going to do was like Jesus Christ Super Palace, which is going to promote the nonprofit. In fact, it will come from the nonprofit. Any money that goes that the book makes will go directly to food to feed homeless children and homeless people. But the one that will be for profit will be the one that's AGI, how AGI saves the world or whatever, right? So that I'm gonna try to work on today. I'm gonna carve out some time for that. But my concern is, since you can't necessarily lock in a certain look and feel from your prompt, Like if I have Jesus Christ superpowers, and when they renders Jesus, like every picture in the book has a
Yeah,
different face
it's
of
a
Jesus.
different Jesus.
Yeah, and you're like, wait, what happened to Jesus? He was on the cover, now he's a black guy, now he's a brown guy, now he's a white guy. Like, actually, just kidding. It's always a white guy when it's Jesus. So, so I'm gonna just have to figure out how do I lock in a certain look. And I might just have to be very descriptive. Jesus who looks like X Y Z, right? Which I think I might just do a white guy because that's kind of the default Jesus look and feel that people are used to. And then super pals will be like the kids that follow him and help him take down evil and stuff. So I think that could be a cool book that we generate. And then the one about I was just thinking Haley would be the AGI, right? So we promote Haley. Now we become really good at doing this machine learning and that sort of stuff. And we make Haley into the singularity, and then she saves the world. So I think those would be like two cool kids books that we work on. And then let me look at my to-do list. More of the affiliate marketing stuff. So I'm gonna get more things on there. I need to figure out how to actually promote it. So I have the board. Maybe we'll do TikTok videos or something to promote the actual links that people can click on. And gonna go swimming in the ocean. That's my new thing
Nice.
for exercise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got a wetsuit that I can actually go in the water. It's really cold, so like if you go in that water without a wetsuit, you're asking for a bad time. And then I went for a walk this morning, and at this gas station, there's this homeless guy that I run into every so often. So I kind of talked with him. I said, if you meet me here at noon, I'll bring you an organic meal. So I asked him if he's okay getting videotaped, even if we blur his face and distort his voice and change his name. He was like, no, I don't want that. And I said, I respect that. So we'll just take a picture of the meal, and then people will just have to believe that we gave to a homeless person. And then I didn't eat. I might look like I
That's
ate
good
it, but it
enough.
wasn't me.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. So hopefully he's there because he didn't have a phone, he didn't have a watch. Like he was very disconnected from the digital world. So I'll report back tomorrow about how it goes, and then we'll just take a picture of the meal and see what we actually fed that person. And I won't say his name since he doesn't want to be identified, which I understand. Like imagine you're homeless, you're like at the bottom of your of your
Yeah, you
life.
don't want to
The
be
last thing you want is
exposed.
fucking video footage
Yeah.
of someone having to help you, right? So completely understandable that he doesn't want to be recorded. In fact, maybe it's a they. It's not a him. It's a they.
Yeah.
I can't
You
assume
don't
his
know.
gender. All right, let's talk about some things. So, Betty, you saw the link that I sent you, and let's just share these links in our comment section. So let's talk about the first one here. So I'll post that guy. So the news article says that a trio of scientists at a Wuhan lab were named pretty much patient zeros. Those more as patient 0, 1, and 2 because we start at zero index for computer science. And they were doing risky virus research. And then if you look up, I think this has already been proven that like Dr. Fauci and the United States government were like funneling money into this lab to research these viruses and stuff. And so it's just funny that we've identified that it came from a lab, right? It wasn't a bat. Someone didn't fuck a bat and get COVID. Any thoughts on that, Fede, about fucking bats?
Yeah, I'm still unsure. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
I still believe it wasn't like created in a lab. But yeah, maybe it's just me.
So you think it came from some animal that because it's very plausible, right? Like
Yeah.
some bat because I've heard they eat weird stuff in China. I've never been to China, but that's like the
Yeah.
stuff that I'm fed from my media that they eat all sorts of stuff. And so eating a bat doesn't seem like outside the realm of possibility. But can you digest a virus? If you eat a virus, does that enter your body that way? I'm sure I'm
Yep.
eating a bunch of viruses all the time.
Yeah, but they are not that dangerous. So yeah, I think there's a lot of things that have to happen. to create COVID. That's why we don't have a pandemic every year.
That's
So
true. Well, we
yeah,
have like flu epidemics, we have cold epidemics, we have small scale stuff. I'm sure there's been times where like you go to work, everybody's out because they all got something. But they don't die from it, right? Whereas with COVID, people were dying. Um, all right, next topic here. Let's talk about uh, the global sea surface temperatures spike beyond the previous records, affecting the North Atlantic. And let me put the link here for everybody. So, climate change happening. It's probably happening now at accelerated rate. There's only so much carbon, whatever the stuff that the ocean absorbs. After a certain limit, you're not going to be able to absorb anymore, right? So, what happens when the ocean just can't take anymore? The trees can only take so much, even though we have like a record number of trees that we're planting every year. Uh, I guess our carbon footprint is just growing at a way faster rate than the ability to absorb the carbon, right? So that's going to lead to all sorts of crazy stuff, typhoons, just extreme heat, you name it, we're going to be running into it. So um, no denying climate change from all the data sources. And I dug into it also. I looked at like what's being reported at the highest level in terms of temperature change over time. And then also, if you just took individual accounts of different cities, because they're all measuring temperature as well, and they're also every decade they're raising like half a degree Celsius. So for sure, we're warming up. Is there going to be a point where like you have your buffer zone that you can absorb so much carbon and whatnot? Once you make it past that point of no return, we just get into like end times, right?
yeah, and there's also some people that says like in their city it's not getting warmer, but global warming is not cities getting warmer. So it may be getting colder. It's just the glaciers melting and making a
Yeah.
lot of climate changes. It's like more hurricanes, more earthquakes, more everything. It's not that if you are
Oh, I
not
don't know about
getting
earthquakes. Do you think
colder.
earthquakes can get caused by too much carbon?
I don't know, but if the sea levels raise, I guess that can affect
Yeah,
other
that's true.
things.
Um, yeah, that's true. The one thing that really, and back when I was like, man, my life has just been pumped full of bullshit from the media and like the stories I hear about other countries, just nonstop nonsense that was fed into my head. So I had all these biases. And so then I'm like, all right, from now on, if there's a belief that I have, I'm going to research it and try to figure out for sure, like, is that the case? With climate change, there's just too much data for anyone to fake it. Okay. Like, you can't
There's
deny it
a
when you look at all the data.
there's a really good book. I don't know if I have it. Is how is it called? Oh, have it on. I think. To keep going, I will find this book. It's about climate change.
Yeah. There's just too much data that you can't. We got Ralph joining us here. Hey, Ralph, good to see you.
Hey, what's up, guys?
So we were just talking about climate change and how like certain things when I dug into it, like when the WHO was reporting malaria cases in Africa, when you start breaking it down, the numbers didn't add up. But if you look at climate change data, the numbers add up. Like things are getting bad, right? So we're trying to implement carbon credit and taxes and stuff like that, but it's not working. We're at 450 parts per million of CO2 in the air. I went and bought a Tesla thinking, oh, I'll help society and I'll drive electric. And then I looked at the data of how much carbon is created to make the battery in the car itself, and it's just way more than a gas car. So, and then the time it takes for you to to hit the inflection point of where now you're actually, saving carbon, it's like 10, 20 years out, depending on how much range you have in your car. So we're pretty screwed. There's not really much we can do. So doom and gloom. The apocalypse is upon us. There's a bunch of companies trying to do different things in terms of how to capture the carbon, but I don't think they're going to be able to ramp up in time and start doing what they need to do to capture the carbon in time. And all the countries are putting in the time and effort to plant trees, but trees take a while to grow, right? It's not like these trees just pop up and they're absorbing all the carbon. So the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, and we're a little too late to the party now. So what you missed out on, Ralph, is we were talking about an article that came out. It's in the comments that we put, is that they've identified 3 different patient zeros. So patient 0, patient 1, patient 2, and they came from a lab doing viral research for viruses or viral research, right? So that's interesting. Fede isn't completely bought onto that. He thinks it could be also just be a transmitted thing. It's a natural thing. So 2 different schools of thought there of where it came from. And all right, anything else you guys want to chime in about climate change?
So
Yeah, there's a great book called The Uninhabitable Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. I can write in the comments. I know why, but I will.
Ralph, can you get us an affiliate link for this book before Fede gives it away for free?
yeah, nah,
I send it on the private chat. So
yeah, okay, cool. That's
Yeah, you get the affiliate link, and then we get a little bit of cut if someone buys the book off of there.
it's a good
We'll do that for any book recommendations that we have. When did you read that book, Fede?
It was like 5 years ago, 4 maybe. But
that
I bought it on Audible, so it was an audiobook.
Nice.
What's the summary of it, like briefly?
It's just about climate change and the things that are going to happen in different places in the next years. Yeah.
Yeah. So they give us 30 years. They give like these big corporations or these countries 30 years to get their act together. What do you guys think will happen after 30 years? I mean,
we're already dead. 30 years, we're already dead. We're in I think in a few years, we're going to hit like an inflection point of the ability for the things that are there for buffering carbon, taking it out of the sky. It's just like it won't be able to handle it. So then we'll start seeing extreme weather, and it's like the Revelations that talks about all the crazy stuff that happens, right?
At least the trees will be grown. The trees that'll be planted now, they'll be like grown somewhat, but we'd have to make a change. We would have to. I mean, it's inevitable, right? Like to change, but.
So what can you do? You can start walking to places. You can start biking to places. Even if you have an electric car, the electricity comes from somewhere, right? So you have to figure out the source. If the source is coming from things that are producing carbon, then you're adding to the problem also. So what else can a person do individually?
You can eat
less meat.
Things that, you can eat things that produce like less gases. So
so more a vegan diet would probably be helpful. Although I can't do it. I'm just gonna let the world burn. Whatever. I'm gonna eat my steak. And be like, at least it was tasty in the Matrix.
Yeah. Remember in the Matrix, they just had to eat like soup.
Gruel. They're just like, can I have more gruel, please? Yeah. All right. Next thing. So global warming's real. We're all fucked. Great. Next thing. How do you pronounce this disease again, Fede?
Dengue.
Now endemic in 129 countries, with the worst outbreak currently affecting Peru, which is one of your nearby countries, right?
Yep.
So it's the fastest spreading infectious disease in the world. 129 countries, and while 70% of the cases are currently found in Asia, prevalence elsewhere increasing due to anthropogenic factors. That's a $10 word, including rapid urbanization and globalization. So, like, it's easier to spread, right? So, do we have any kind of vaccine for that? Does that exist? Do you know, Fede?
No, there's no treatment yet.
So
Okay.
So it's saying that virus is caused from environmental changes.
It's just from mosquitoes, right?
Yeah, but I think it started. We need to check this. I think it started in Africa, and because of climate change, now the mosquito can come to. It has come to America, and it can live here. So
wow,
and it's going to spread. They say.
Oh,
So
man.
so usually if you have like swamps or standing water, that's usually breeding grounds for mosquitoes. But I guess you also need to have a certain temperature. That if you're in that temperature range, if it's warmer, then you're more likely to have mosquitoes breeding. The best place to go to not get malaria or these mosquito borne diseases is Disneyland. So Disneyland, they actually went and they had it as a first world concept or first order concept to have a mosquito free area. So everything is designed at Disneyland to be without mosquitoes. There's no way to do a puddle of water at Disneyland.
Wow.
There's a whole article on this about like,
I got it. Yeah.
You can go to Florida, Orlando, and you'll be mosquito free when you're inside of Disneyland, just because how they designed it.
I know when mosquitoes are out and I'm outside, I go to like where there's nowhere I can find a puddle, like no grass, wet grass around, like, and the mosquitoes are less. There are less mosquitoes there. Like if I go in the middle of a parking lot with no puddles and concrete, no grass, like, so I get that, but
stay away from the skeets, man. They'll give you all sorts of crazy stuff.
I think there was also a plan to use CRISPR to fix.
Oh, that was like the whole Bill Gates thing, right? He did like a TED talk, and he had a jar of these modified mosquitoes, and he opened it up and let the mosquitoes fly in the TED talk. And I'm like, I'm gonna say, how dare you fucking send mosquitoes in the? I'll be fucking pissed. I don't care if they have diseases or not.
Yeah, meaning,
but if you're gonna put mosquitoes in the air to be dramatic, like I'm gonna meet me outside, catch me outside, bro.
So if they can use it to fix malaria, maybe they can use it to fix dengue and Zika, I guess. But I don't
know. The idea was to make the mosquitoes, what's the word? Well, they're sterile, like they can't have kids, little baby mosquitoes.
Yeah, I think it was also like changing their DNA, like so they don't like transmit the disease.
The solution to mosquitoes is more mosquitoes
that can't have babies. So, but what do mosquitoes have an impact on? You know how bees, the world's done for if the bees are gone, but like mosquitoes is like I think people feel like they can do without mosquitoes. Would you guys agree? I don't really know what they do to the ecosystem.
It's like AIDS, right? A virus. What is AIDS doing for us?
No, there
what
might
is
be
doing
some
in the
other
ecosystem?
I'm sure there's some other insect that eats the mosquitoes. I know spiders.
Yeah. So it's food for the food chain, right?
Yeah.
True.
Probably.
Like the bottom of the food chain.
Yeah. So them delicious skeets. All right, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about, unless you guys have anything else to talk about on the mosquito thing. So UFOs. What's the UFOs? Aliens.
I should have left my hair like UFOs.
I don't know if you've seen the huge uptick in news about UFOs and non-human origin. That's what they're saying now. Non-human origin crafts and beings. There's a video of Las Vegas backyard. This family sees something crash into the land, and then there's a 10-foot alien in the backyard, and there's a bad footage of, and then they like zoom in, like there's the eyeball of the alien.
Man.
So I think it's all bullshit. It's all I think they call it like a psyop, which is like a psychological operation to get us worried about. It's a distraction, right? Like, oh, look over here, let's look at aliens. Like, so I think these people are like paid actors. They're doing a good job acting because it's very believable. Like, trying to pretend like they saw an alien and stuff.
Or just an AI generating the video.
I was.
How do we know it's not a deep fake? It could be a deep fake. We
True.
have technologies to do deep fakes. So here's what I think is happening. So there's this, and then now this goes into conspiracy theory land. There's this project in 1994. This gentleman had talked to some NASA folks or whatever, and they exposed a classified project called Project Bluebeam. So if someone wants to Google that real quick. So this conspiracy theory, Project Bluebeam.
Oh yeah, I heard of that. Yeah.
Okay, so what he was saying, and this actually inspired the movie Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson, and who's that other lady? Who's that lady from Pretty Woman? Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
Okay. It's actually a pretty entertaining movie if you're looking to see a movie, conspiracy theory, and so that the movie is based off of this. The conspiracy theory that I have is what you're seeing now is just them testing out their holographic technology. So Project Bluebeam is saying that in the future, because we're going to get overpopulated and the elite all think that we have to like scale down on the population, right? So we need to control the population. So we're going to do that various means. We're going to make them sick, dying. We want to make them not have families anymore. Just get them to the point where we're getting depopulated, right? And as we're going into these upcoming years, they've been working on since 94 plus. They've been working on technology to be able to do very sophisticated holograms. Okay, so the stuff that you're seeing in the sky is probably them just testing out, like the UFOs that you're seeing is just a projection. Okay. Very sophisticated holograms.
Really quick, can I read the brief?
Yes.
Briefly on Project Bluebeam, what it's about.
Yeah.
So, it details the claim that the guy Serge that NASA, with the help of United Nations, is attempting to implement a New Age religion with the Antichrist at its head to start a new world order via technologically simulated second coming of Christ, which is interesting that you bring.
I've heard a few variations of Project Bluebeam. So there's that one, which is the Antichrist.
That was Wikipedia, so it was iffy. So
yeah. There's a variation. So one variation, if you ask Bard will tell you that they're going to simulate an alien attack. Okay, and they'll do some explosions here and there to make it like, oh, we're being attacked, right? And then they go and say to everybody, all right, COVID lockdown all over again. Everybody go in your houses, stay there, and then we'll come to you with the food or whatever, right? So lock them down, and then they're gonna say we're gonna combine all the governments and turn into a new world order, NWO. If you guys remember that in wrestling. No?
So. Yeah, I do remember it. So that's one of the so that would be the tactic where everybody has the common enemy. That's other world
aliens. So the aliens are attacking us. Now I think it's complete bullshit, because if you're an advanced civilization that can go from galaxy to galaxy, you could have fucked us up a long time ago. You didn't need to wait till the shit hits the fan with global warming and AI and all that sort of thing to go and like attack us right then and there. They could have done it a long time ago. What do they want from us, right? Like they want to eat us. We're probably not very tasty. And if they have alien technology, they can probably whip up a delicious pizza on demand, right? So we don't really have anything that they necessarily need. If they wanted it, they could have took it a long time ago before we developed nuclear technology.
Yeah.
And so if you're an alien and you have technology that's multiple thousands of years advanced, there's no way you're fucking crashing your ship on the planet. Okay.
Right.
You have redundancy built on redundancy that will make sure that your craft doesn't crash. All this, the alien shit that we hear about, I think is all bullshit.
I
So
respect
if you're
that.
seeing lights in the sky or whatever, either it's a man-made craft that we are using, maybe some cool technology we developed, or it's a hologram.
Yeah, or it has some other natural explanation that
Meteorites.
we don't know. Yeah.
Well, some of these videos, it's like it's a meteorite, then it stops, and then it just kind of hovers around. Then you're like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Mind blowing. So I don't think aliens are ever going to attack us. They're probably very sophisticated. They're next level thinking. They're just waiting for us to get our shit together before we can join the intergalactic federation or whatever. So I definitely believe they exist, but no one's seeing them.
Physicists say that we're like in the lowest percentile for evolution.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in theory, if other civilizations exist, we would be the bottom percentile.
Yeah. So, what are your theories on aliens? Do you think they exist? Do you think that we're interacting with them? Do you think that government has access to sophisticated alien technology and has bodies laying around?
I think our government has access to sophisticated technology in some kind of way that's a secret to us. And I like your theory. Your theory makes a lot of sense, though. Like, you know, that Project Blue Beam theory, it makes sense.
Well, let me ask you this: who has satellites that could possibly project holograms?
Ironically, Elon Musk.
Is he the Antichrist?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
If there was a list, he might be on it. But
so first and foremost, how does someone like one guy get the clearance to do worldwide satellites? Okay. I would think you get blocked by China. You would get blocked because he's a U.S. backed guy. Why wouldn't he get blocked by Russia or one of these, countries that are like, hey, we don't want your fucking satellites on top of our, because in orbit you can have static satellites that stay with the planet or wherever pinpoint, right? Yeah. Which is what he's doing. How the fuck did he get clearance from the entire world that you can have, satellites sprayed throughout the world?
I think you're onto something, man. And the way they travel into orbit, right? It's just so sophisticated. And China has already displayed holograms in the sky. I don't know. I didn't look into it though, but I saw reports that people saw like these buildings in the clouds, and they were just holograms that China was putting out there. I don't know, maybe as a test or something, but.
So there's some TikToks that I've seen that talk about hologram technology. They've been working on it since the 50s, and it's super sophisticated. So if you saw the hologram in front of you, you would literally think it's that actual device or whatever they're projecting. You wouldn't even think it's different. And remember when Tupac came back from the dead at Coachella?
That's what I was thinking of just now.
That was a shitty version of what the United States government can do.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that, man. If we're down here having tours with a hologram, I think the government is like 30 years ahead of that.
They're way out there.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Like Spider-Man movie level. It's like,
the military. Matter of fact, the military is probably
there was a villain on Spider-Man that made holograms, right?
Yeah. Mysterio.
Yeah, that
one. That's
drones. He did drones that projected. So like the drones swarm would create this awesome looking fake attack, right? So there is some stuff out there that does show that maybe the aliens interacted with us before, like with the pyramids, right?
Yeah.
And then also certain structures that were built are so sophisticated in terms of how they were cut, how they were moved. We're talking about like a 3 million pound object. How the fuck did they move this 3 million pound object from one point to another point using little wheels? Like, what do they do to move 3 million? Like,
yeah, it's insane.
If you don't move this 3 million pound weight, you're dead. Like, I'm be like, okay, let me go and try to build a thing to just get enough leverage, right? Like, how much leverage would I need to move 3 million pounds?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I definitely like innately feel that the reason Egypt was taken over by so many civilizations, because first the Greeks took over, and they continued a dynasty, the Egyptian dynasty, and sometimes we don't know right away that like Cleopatra was a Greek woman, and because Alexander the Great came in and took over, then many nations came and was like, yeah, I want a piece of that, and they came, took over. There's many regimes, many dynasties. The really ancient Egyptian dynasties ended around like 300 BC, and there was something that the rest of the world wanted from them. And it reminds me of World War II. When America came into World War II, they basically absorbed all of Germany's technology. So I can't help but to think like Egypt has had this like crazy technology. It might have been like aliens or something.
Like those same pyramids with a very similar structure exist throughout the globe, and they were happening around the globe at the same around the same time, but there's no way they were talking. So somehow like this structure of pyramids, maybe it's a universal thing. You close your eyes, you dream, you see a pyramid, and everybody wearing pyramids. But they were all making sophisticated temples, these pyramid structures, using technology from way back when. And if you were trying to do that today, I don't know what technology you would use to move such big, large structures and blocks. And also, if you look at the cuts of the rocks, how they have super straight edge cuts, like they have some sort of laser technology.
Yeah. And that like there was like limestone covering them, and the pyramid, the tip of the pyramid was like some other material. It was crazy.
So if let's say, so the one theory is they figured out some way to move heavy things and somehow cut, and then that technology disappeared, or maybe aliens came and was like, oh, you haven't developed nukes yet, but we'll help you with some stuff on how to make temples and stuff, right? And then that got wiped away, and now but aliens are probably looking at us and going like, it's a shit show down there. Let them figure it out. Let them either kill themselves, or once they get to a better point, we'll come down there and hang out.
Yeah.
So it seems like the aliens were around in the past. Ancient aliens?
Yeah, the show. Yeah.
So, was there anything else? Any interesting stuff that you guys read?
Like there's 2 hours ago, there was a report for multiple witness claim they saw fighter jets engaging with the UFO over Michigan.
I'm thinking it's a projection.
That's what I'm thinking now, man.
These are all just fake projections that are going to try to scare us into thinking the aliens are the bad guys, even though it doesn't make any sense. The media also portrays, by media I mean like movies and stuff, that's like they're going to come and they want our water. Like, okay, like you could have had our water a long time ago. You're thirsty now? You have advanced technology and now you're thirsty?
Yo, one of the eyewitnesses say the jets were basically circling something that they couldn't see at first, like the sun was like making it not be visible, and there was like flare missiles or something launched.
Ooh,
but
I want to share. Sorry for cutting you off, Ralph. I'll let you actually finish. I want to share a video after you're done.
Oh no, that's it. Like I'd have to read the whole article to see what it. But they saw a white metallic disc. It was hard to see, but it was shining in the sun, and the fighters were like, they were like circling it, trying to get.
It's that motherfucker Mysterio, man. Mysterio's up there with his drones, projecting this cool stuff that's going on. All right, so let me show you this video. I want to get your guys' take on this. Okay, and let me know if you can hear it too. So I tweeted this one. if I can find the tab. Okay. All right. So on my, are you seeing this video?
Yep. Brief intermission. I should play some music, huh?
Hey, we're not seeing the video.
Oh,
We're just...
yeah, it didn't play, or we just can't see it, I think.
All right, hold on. Let me stop sharing. Share this tab instead. Okay. Sorry, I'll start from the beginning. Okay, do you see it?
Yeah.
Let me pull this window out.
Oh yeah, this is pretty good video. I watched it.
Okay, so
how a very small set of people control 8 billion people. This is what I call the elite. Let's say there's about 10,000 of them. How is it these people are able to manipulate the 8 billion people here? If you talk to a lot of naive people, they think, oh, it's the Rothschilds over here, or it's the aliens. They don't understand. It's not any one individual. It's not any one organization. There's something called swarm intelligence. If you watch all those birds flying together, not any one of them is in control. They move together as a unit. They're closely knit. They're quote unquote telepathic, but they move with a singular goal. The goal of the elites here is power, profit, and control. This is the goal. So if we look at it from a control system, what are the inputs they're sending into this system to achieve their goals? And what is the output that they seek? So if you're an elite over here and you're looking at those 8 billion people, how do you know you're achieving your goal? Are people getting fat, meaning unhealthy? Are people getting dumb, which means ignorant? Are people happy, which means are they being entertained? Are people divided? Are they isolated, disconnected? They don't want people here connecting with each other. Are people feeling helpless? Are people looking to the elites to save them? And they like that. They like when people here are looking to them, the enemy here, for their saviors. They really love that. They want people to be disorganized, and they definitely want people to be helpless. This is what they want. If you do not want to unite among people here and find who your own leaders are from below, they are quite happy. They're achieving their goal. Power, profit, and control. Now, how do they do this? You're going to realize it's not any one group. It's an interconnected, tightly knit group. They're all closely interconnected. In fact, they all go to the same restaurants. They have all their kids going to the same equestrian shows. They all shop at the same place. They all go to the same parties. You're not part of that. So who are these people? And what are the institutions of power that they have? Well, first of all, they have academia. Harvard, Oxford, Yale, MIT, IIT in India, the top 100 university presidents. These people are on boards of companies, but it's about 100 people who run the major universities in the world. NGOs, or nonprofits. These are people who run these huge nonprofit organizations like the Clinton Global Initiative, WEF, World Economic Forum, Center for Foreign Relations. And there's many other institutions like these, but it's the CEOs of these institutions. And these guys know each other. They definitely work together. The next thing you have is you have government, US senators, prime ministers of countries, advisors to government, think tanks, the Belfer School at Harvard, the Stanford Internet Observatory. They created the censorship infrastructure. This includes CIA, right? Intelligence organizations. And again, all these people know each other. They're interconnected. They're a swarm. They're tightly knit. They're not divided like these people over here. They're not disconnected. They're highly interconnected. So these people are focused on power. But then you also have a whole nother people, the CEOs of the global 2,000 companies, other big organizations like big pharma companies, Pfizer, big agriculture companies like Syngenta, big investment companies, JP Morgan. You put Deutsche Bank here. You put Epstein down here. Okay, he was involved in all this. You also have the Fed, the central banks. All these people party together. When I say party together, I mean literally they party together, guys. Absolute close-knit friends. And in fact, the CEO of a Global 2000 company will easily move to one of the investment companies down here. If you look at Target, big companies like Anheuser-Busch and Exxon, you'll find that at one point they were in one of these investment companies, and these investment companies sit on the board of these companies, and they shuffle back and forth. So this is all about making money, right? These people are about making the dollar. These people are all about power. This is profit. And then fundamentally, you have control. Hollywood over here. This includes celebrities. You have their agents, Hollywood agents, like Ari Emanuel, as I've talked about, who's a guy who controls most of Hollywood. He controls Worldwide Wrestling Federation, the MMA, etc. Media companies. This includes Disney, Viacom. This includes now Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. These are large media companies. Google, you can put in there also. You also have big news stations, CNN, Fox. And combined with this, now we have another group, social media influencers. This is like Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, these characters who have come in, but they do not exist without support from these guys. If you notice, overnight, a bunch of social media influencers have come out of nowhere. And these people are created by these people. So when you look at this, the academics, the NGOs, the government, the think tanks, the investment companies, the Fed, the big pharma, the CEOs, the Hollywood celebrities, media, social media influencers, and the news companies, and you can even take the top 10 of each one of these, they all know each other, everyone. And in order to manipulate these people, they need front men to manipulate these people with policies. Because what comes out are policies. These are the inputs they put into the system, propaganda. They feed these people purposely, people who they tell them are going to save them, like the Elon Musks or Trump or the Kennedys. Now, who are the people part of the swarm that does that? They have the obvious establishment. And these people are like the Clintons or the McConnells or the Obamas or the Bushes or the Queen of England. Typically people say, oh yeah, those guys are part of the establishment. But one of the things we teach at Truth, Freedom, Health, the most insidious people are what I call the not so obvious establishment. These are the people that are created to make sure that the 8 billion people look to the elites to save them. Trump, he's got a golden toilet. Mar-a-Lago, Kennedy's, completely bogus family. You can look at historically people like Gandhi or people like MLK. These people all came and were endorsed by the swarm. These people do not exist. They live in Malibu. They live in the places of the elites. And these people are the ones that are used to send the inputs of this controller. In system science, these are the controllers. These are the people controlling the inputs that go in. And remember, their goal is to make sure people are in the state of division, disconnection, and helplessness. They're observing all this. They have their sensors. And one of the features that they notice is that as long as people are in dysfunction and diseased mentally, physically, emotionally, they're happy. Well, what are those diseases these days? We see obesity. We see endocrine disruption, men with low testosterone and people questioning their sexuality. We also see people with cancer. The world's population's life expectancy is going down. The United States is going this way. And this from 1980 to 2020. They like this. This is life expectancy. In fact, when they see dysfunction, you know what they do? They put another input in, which is normalize the dysfunction. Eat sugars and high fructose food. Well, over here, people have been literally getting fat. It's led to obesity. Or they've been putting in foods that are affecting people's gut microbiome. This is what I call from policy to biology. People are getting worse and worse. They're actually making more money because the obesity now creates obesity drugs. The endocrine disruptors, let's talk about this. This will really explain what's going on with Bud Light. About 20 years ago, there was research done at the universities that clearly showed the use of restricted use pesticides like atrazine and other chemicals in the atmosphere actually cause endocrine disruption, which could reduce male testosterone, which could also affect mammals where the sex organs can change. And this was done by the work of Tyrone Hayes. So if you're over here at a university and you find out one of your researchers discovered that, and you are playing golf with people over here at Syngenta is the one who produced atrazine, they're going to say, hey man, we don't want this research coming out, because you have to understand something. The investment community here is investing in all of these companies. So if you're one of these large investment companies, you're moving trillions of dollars. $600 trillion, by the way, move through the economy every day. You as one of the elites managers of money, you're moving all this money. You know all of these people. You know the CEO of Target, you know the CEO of Anheuser-Busch, you know the CEO of Pfizer and Syngenta. And imagine that you see, wow, the stuff that we've been creating is causing sexual disruption changes. You're seeing a phenomenon where more and more people are questioning their sexuality. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that the general general public doesn't understand this, because if they did, they would awaken to something that's going on from the decisions you made. So you call up your friend, Bud Light, he goes, hey, look, let's run a campaign. Let's normalize trans. Let's exploit a willing person to be exploited like this Dylan Mulvaney. Let's put them on as a poster boy for Bud Light, and let's push them out there, because we want the attention to normalize a dysfunction, because the goal is to make sure they don't lose their trillions over in Syngenta. They're willing to take $1 billion hit over here, but they want to save their trillions in big pharma and big ag, because they're all part of the same family. They all do favors for each other. And then again, you would go do it at Target. You try to normalize it, because you don't want people over here to understand the bigger picture. But you are interconnected. You could strike deals left and right. Let's do a marketing campaign in here. Let's normalize. Same thing if you can look at what's going on in obesity. All these pharma companies are making big money from obesity drugs, but there's movies on Netflix and Amazon promoting fat people as a norm. What's happening over here, you have people who are pro-fat and people who are anti-fat people. You have people who are pro-woke and anti-woke, and they don't care. So you have a bunch of these idiots writing books against woke companies and anti-woke companies. You have people creating apps, only shop at anti-woke companies, don't go to woke companies. But you guys understand that these guys don't give a damn? They're making money anyway. The investment bankers are going to make money from woke companies and anti-woke companies. But what's occurring here is people are being divided. These guys are happy because they're inputting policies and propaganda. People here are being divided, and that is the goal, to achieve power, profit, control. So as long as these people work together as a swarm to control the policies and the propaganda, and they provide false heroes, and they're using the Trumps, the Kennedys, and Gandhis, all of them who talk a big game, their goal is to make sure that you never understand this, that you keep thinking, oh, Kennedy's going to solve the problem. Trump is going to solve the problem. They don't want you to be leaders in your own communities. They want you to outsource your future to people like Trump or Kennedy, because they're part of the swarm. And you keep getting more unhealthy, more ignorant, more entertained. But most importantly, you are divided. Good evening, everyone.
So after watching that, I was like, that was so well laid out of what the system is that's used against us. And then I was like, not Joe Rogan, no, not Trump, no, not Clinton, no, not Obama, the guy I fucking voted for, no. But they're all a part of the system, and they're all homies, right? Like, you're not well connected, you're gonna be a homie. And then I started thinking, like, if you have a big platform and if you start like this guy, Dr. Shiva, I don't know how he's alive. Okay. If you start spitting truths like that, explaining the entire system, you're not going to be around for much longer. So if you have an actual platform that is large, they're going to take you out. And I don't mean on a date. They're going to fucking, take you in the backyard, put a bullet in you. Right. So now whenever I see even like Alex Jones, so Alex Jones, conspiracy theories and all that sort of stuff, super sharp guy, critical thinker. But since he's had such a big backing of people following him, he must be getting backed by the government or this swarm that we're talking about, right? This intelligence swarm. So, but he's not necessarily, he's informing them, but he's not inspiring them to take action. Right? Nobody that has a big platform is saying, here's the data, and it might be actually all true. Maybe Alex Jones is saying some real stuff, but he's not saying like, all right, this is what we're going to do to fix it. This is how we're going to coordinate our efforts to combat that. I'm going to run for president and I'm going to, fix the cabinet. Like, that's not happening. So it's like they start collecting the certain bubbles. Everybody brings in a bubble. Joe Rogan has his bubble of critical thinkers. So you need to have like these little leaders, but they don't inspire to fix. They don't inspire. They just notify them and say, all right, well, we're fucked, but let me tell you about how we're fucked, right? So that was one thing that I took away from this video, is like, I can't trust anybody with a platform.
I can understand that. Yeah. That sums up, man, so well everything we talk about and think. It's crazy to see it put that way. It's pretty interesting.
What do you think about the video, Fede?
It's crazy that he talks about like how people on the MIT control everything, and
all the
he's from the
universities.
MIT. Yeah,
They're
but
all
he's from the
bitches of the
MIT.
swarm. Yeah. So And this also goes like doctors, right? Doctors are trained for big pharma, right? They are all taught to give medicine, patch it up, send them out, and then come back to you when you have a new problem from the medicine I gave you. And then
Yeah.
we'll give you more patching, and then we'll have you in this rotation. We'll milk you for all your work. So, and these are good people, these doctors, smart people. They went into it to help people, maybe make money also. But if you're educated the one and only way, that one true way, according to them, according to all the schools, then these doctors are brainwashed.
Yeah. I learned yesterday that the actual pharmacist can override, like some people will suggest to patients that get prescription drugs to contact the pharmacist first because of the fact that doctors do work for big pharma. They're gonna have that interest first, and the pharmacist doesn't. The pharmacist will be able to like inform, give like a more like
Unbiased.
unbiased answer to any question, and really override the doctor. Like if you have this reaction, don't take this drug anymore.
So I guess the question is, after seeing the video, you can see they have a very sophisticated system. The 10,000 or so people that are the elite, Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, right? The globalists. What can we do as individuals, right? So one thing I would say is stop creating enemies, right? Woke versus unwoke, left and right, blue and red, Republican and Democrat, right wing, left wing, all that stuff. Like once you talk to those people, you'll be like, oh, actually, this person's fine. The only thing is they're getting fed a certain narrative. I'm getting fed a different narrative. Pretty much, I'm saying everybody needs to become independent. Stop like picking a side or whatever. And don't let kids change their gender identity until they hit 27. Because letting a 7-year-old flip their gender, the kid doesn't know anything. 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-olds don't know shit.
It's funny because it's true. Nah, I agree with that, man. I used to always feel when the police brutality was being exploited, it is horrible, but it seemed so divisive, right? Like when the people behind the badge don't have their badge on, they're like your neighbors and stuff, So it's like
every police officer I've known is like awesome. Like if I know them, but I've been like I was just driving, I got pulled over, they're like flashing the light in my eyes, and I'm like, I didn't even do anything. It's like, well, you're out in a weird hour of the day, and I'm like, I guess I'm also brown while driving. So, but if they knew me, they'd be like, oh, Raj, we're friends, right? So individuals by themselves, we're talking about the division that they cause, right, of groups. But if you go into a particular person and you talk to them, you'd be like, but the problem is you don't have time to get to know everybody, right? So we group people and like their tribe versus my tribe. But they've done the system that the elite have, the global elite have done, is very sophisticated. Like I showed, it has sensors. For every single data point, those 8 billion people, there's a shadow account about you that has all the information about you, that they run like simulations to make sure that you're going the right path. They have unlimited computing power, right? So it's a faux. So all you can do really is be good locally. So if everybody was good locally, like I saw a TikTok that talked about, if you looked at the number of churches out there today in the United States, if each one of them adopted one homeless person, by adopting, fed them, clothed them, maybe gave them shelter, there wouldn't be enough homeless people around for all the churches. And the churches would have to fight each other for them to get a piece of a homeless person, right? So the same thing with children, if they are in foster homes. If each church just adopted one child, we wouldn't have any problem in terms of children without homes. But do the churches do anything? The churches I've gone to, they outsource the help. They literally work with a third party, and they funnel them a little bit of money to do the work. They don't mobilize their what do you call them? The people in the church steeple. Here's my people. You know, the congregation. They don't mobilize the congregation to do the work themselves. So
it's like our
as
federal.
you guys know, for our company, our thing is do good deeds. So all of us have to get mobilized, right? Like we have to do it as individuals, and hopefully we inspire. And even if we don't, at least we bought our way into heaven.
Right, man.
All right, we're at hour's time. Anything else quick to chime in on?
Nah, not at the moment.
No, just remember this. I don't know if you guys watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix.
Social dilemma.
Oh, where we're being controlled by Facebook and the other. I think I
Yeah.
saw a little bit of it.
I'll check it
Yeah.
out.
That's a good one.
I'll try to slip it in today. Yeah.
I would watch it, but then my Netflix got cut off because they cracked down on the password sharing.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't see anything on Netflix. Well, I did see there's the new Clone movie that's coming out with Jamie Foxx, where it talks about they're cloning people for I don't know the entire plot, but that movie looked pretty interesting. Maybe that we were talking about cloning tomorrow.
Yeah.
I learned the other day that there's a lot of people that clone their dogs.
Yeah, and so if you can clone a dog, why can't you clone a human?
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
What does the human have that the dog doesn't have?
That is insane. Yeah, yeah. I think it's just the regulations is keeping people. I mean, but you think cloning of people is actually happening secretly?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
You can you need spare parts, easy baby, clone yourself. But if you believe in like a soul, so you create this clone that has no soul. I don't know if it's operational. I don't know. Does a dog have a soul? Because all dogs go to heaven according to that one movie.
Yeah.
So,
Now they explained that I think they clone dogs. For example, if you have a dog that it was like I don't know really good at learning how to smell drugs or something like that. If you clone that dog will also be able to learn good how to smell drugs or things like
so much is in our DNA, but then at the same time, a
Yeah.
lot of it is environment, right? Like after seeing that video, you realize how your environment, from the propaganda and the inputs that you're getting in from the controlling structure, how much that shapes you. And it's not just a US thing. You have your own thing in Argentina. It's every country does this to their population. There's no like country where you're free of this, right? There's propaganda being shoved down your throat when you're from a baby on up. They get you young, right? The schooling system, which a lot of it is bullshit because they taught me how to read and write, do math, learn some bullshit history, which is like makes us look really good. I'm sure in Argentina, the history lessons are like, Argentina's the best. Let's not talk about all the bad stuff, right? Then we learn a little bit Trail of Tears and some other bad things, but we don't focus on the bad stuff. So, all right, the uninhabitable Earth, and Ralph, if you're able to get a link, throw that into the comments.
Yeah, the affiliate marketing link. Yeah,
uninhabitable Earth.
I'll go back into the comments and add it after I get the link.
Okay. All right. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
Don't get too controlled by the controlling interest.